Hello, this is Bini here. This is about Japanese yen. I want to show you the piece of news that caused Japanese yen to strengthen last night, and as well as a very important chart on the COT of Japanese yen. Let's take a look at the news here, which is BOJ seen keeping ultra low rates, may relax yield control. Later, I'll be doing another video that talks about yield control, but I just want to keep this video short. Okay. What is about this yield control is that previously, last year, around December 20th, BOJ allows the yield curve to move along a wider band. Okay, and then this was the news. In the move explained, the BOJ decided to allow 10-year bond yield to move 50 basis point either side of its 0% target, wider than the previous 25 basis point band. In other words, they are still keeping the interest rate low, or rather the bond yield curve rate low, but they allow a wider fluctuation. So this already caused quite a turmoil in the market that time. What we saw was that the Nikkei went down and then the Japanese yen went up in a long bar, like what we saw last night. I said before that during the earlier this year that already I'm expecting something should be done by BOJ between July to October period, and end of July, towards August, they came out with this piece of news, and I expect that very soon something might be on the table. Then this brings me to this chart here, which is the COT. How to put in this COT, which is something that I talk about in some of the previous session, but basically you can just key in this indicator that is the COT non-commercial net position by Sherwin. So this indicator here, right, and then put in. Okay, but you have to choose here to show Japanese yen. Okay, so Japanese yen, and we are looking at the futures contract of Japanese yen. Right, on top here is dollar versus Japanese yen. When priced is at the bottom below zero, at the low below zero, what this means is that the yen position is a net short position. That means the market is selling yen. Okay, when the market is selling yen, then yen is weak, and what we saw was exactly what it is. Okay, that means the yen has been very weak and the yen has been moving down. Therefore, dollar yen has been moving up. Okay, now what is important for the COT, as I always mention, is to look at it in a contrarian manner. That means that if the COT data is a net short, then very soon the market would have nothing to sell anymore, no shorts anymore, and then what will happen? It has to go up. Then if, for example, a position is net long, then the market has nothing to buy anymore, and then what will it do? Then it has to come down. So this is how we look into COT. It's a contrarian way of looking at it. But for Japanese yen, for dollar yen, I want to bring out the comparison today in terms of historically what happened, especially with each of the vertical line that I've marked here. Take a look at the vertical line that I've chosen here. They are the net short. That means that here at this level, which is about, the level is not important because we only refer to historical level, okay, which is around this historical level here. And since 2021, this level becomes the extreme net short position. That means that every time when it reached this level, the net short would bounce. Okay, so that's the reason why I mark in this level here. Okay, we have seen around 2018, 2017 that this level that I mark in here is also a extreme net short position. Okay, so there is no fixed level. It's all about historical level. Each time, whenever priced, it's near to this historical level, what happened to dollar yen is that dollar yen would turn down. So some would turn down more, some would turn down lesser. For example, around November 2021 period, what happened was it turned down a little bit and then it turned up. So we saw that the net short resulted in the yen strengthening a little bit, and therefore the dollar yen moved down. Now here it's also around the April 2020. Same thing, right? There was a decline in the dollar yen, means that the yen strengthened. Now here was a little bit more obvious, right? There was a decline in the yen position. There was a decline in the dollar yen, and then the yen strengthened. Okay, and that was followed by last year the BOJ announcement on the widening of the yield curve control band. Now this time round, again, price is near to this level. That means that it's near to this level, and we saw that the dollar yen again starts to turn down. Okay. Now this is what I want to bring to attention. I think that there could be a bit of a fundamental driver, and I think that this time when it turns down, that means for the yen to strengthen, it could last a longer period based on what we are seeing in the COT of the yen futures. All right, I expressed many times the importance of looking at COT at relevant time, and I hope that this update is timely for you. But I want to talk about the wash and rinse point of view. From the wash and rinse, okay, we saw that because it's going to be end of the month, right? Then if price doesn't, or rather if price can close below this wash line here, so this is this wash line, okay, and this wash line should be a green wash line in color. Okay, so this is the green wash line. That means we're going to have a wash and rinse on the month level. There's a bearish wash and rinse, right? Okay, now under the weekly level, there was already many wash and rinse, and it's not the first time that I expressed my thoughts that I'm concerned about the weakening of the dollar yen and the strengthening of the yen pairs because of the break of various weekly wash line that happens here and then somewhere around here. So in fact that the wash line is making the yen quite a strong resistance, creating quite a strong resistance to the yen pairs. Right. So in other words, we could see a continued drop in the yen if certain key levels are broken. Okay, so what would be the first level that I'm looking at? Okay, the first level would be here for the dollar yen at 137.9. If the news is really going to be impactful, right, which is what's being delivered by BOJ last night, then I think that if this level, which is about 138 or 137.9, or even if you just give it a bit of a buffer to consider the recent low, which is this point here, okay, which is about 137.2, essentially around number 137, then I think that it's going to be quite impactful move for across the yen pairs. So take the clue from dollar yen, or go to any of the yens that you look at and then map in the very strong levels, because this is not the first time that I've talked about yen. In fact, this week during the alien wash session, I've talked about why we need to pay attention to the yen, and the news by BOJ came earlier than I expected. I was expecting probably the next BOJ meeting, then they give some suggestion. Alright, so this is a brief update. Remember to take a look at the later YouTube video that I'm going to do generally to explain the yield curve control, the carry trade, and why this is impactful for all the instruments that you're doing. And if there could be a drama that's gonna come, and then I think still holding what I thought in the earlier of this year, that it will come from BOJ.